And I look at my childhood, I've never given anything. I did everything myself. Everything. I couldn't see myself being a 50-year-old plumber. That's the average life. And I'm like, I don't want that. Do the hard shit in life, life becomes easy. Do the easy shit in life, life becomes hard. Fucking pretty simple. There's no one thing, there's no secret. Oh, my habits equal the result is to help people. I live for the experiences you'll never forget and the memories no one believes. People don't want to do the uncomfortable shit because they're comfortable being comfortable. I'm not. Someone else has had a more fucked up situation than you and has come out of it better than you have. And that's a fact. I'm a fucking realist. People knock you down for being different because they've given up on their hopes and dreams. They've succumbed to the normal life. It's not failure that I'm scared of. It's normality.
Before we jump into today's episode, I have a small favor to ask from you. If you've gotten any value from any of the podcasts, any of the content that I have put out, please hit the subscribe button. It honestly helps me so much. It helps this channel in growing. And as you've seen, as the channel grows, the guests get bigger and better, which means I can provide more knowledge and more value to you, the listener. Thank you and enjoy today's episode. Clint, it's been a very interesting morning, my friend.
Welcome. Welcome to my morning and your podcast. What happened? Tell me about it. Run me through your morning. I'm interested.
Some crazy guy rocks up at my house at 5 a.m. Go for a 6K run. I knew the way the whole time. And we went to the gym, did a pretty easy workout, and then did 4 minutes in the ice bath. Pretty cruisy morning.
Cruisy morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of waking up still. But
Yeah.
Okay.
We're warming up.
All right. Okay. I got it.
How was your morning?
Hit our stride. Yeah, I just got here. Obviously doing that with no one else, but I don't know. Yeah, it's, look, I think, how was my morning? It was like every other morning, except obviously with the presence of yourself. So it was pleasure to meet you, I guess, firstly. And you know, pleasure, like I said, man, suffering with you. I loved every minute of it.
Yeah, I appreciate you making the trip out here. You're the first guest that I've ever done anything like this before with. Yeah. So like, I've never trained with any of my guests. It's usually just come in the studio, record, and then see you later. Yeah. We may talk on social media or hang out from time to time. But for you to make the trip out here, to go for a run, to train, you nearly kill me in the gym. I wish we got some of that on footage.
We got a little bit.
Yeah, but me, we're going like...
To failure was actually to failure. Like, you know, when you see and hear people talk about, you know, let's just do it to failure. That was to fucking failure. I mean,
you want to explain what was happening?
So, like, I mean, look, well, the workout obviously was, we targeted shoulders and, you know, I like to train to failure, to just see how far we can push ourselves, obviously. And, man, make credit to you, you know, I don't think you could get more to failure than dropping a bar on your face, after doing, it was like, I mean, one of the sets was over 100 reps, like, so, and that was just with one movement. I mean, and that was just one rep range of one movement. So like you finished on 100 reps at the end. So I was like, you know, there was no shortcut with it at all. You know, and the reason that the reason I train like that and that I wanted to kind of, you know, you invited me on here, I guess, to introduce myself and obviously get to know one another. And sure, cool. Like, this is actually my first podcast. So I don't know if you know that, but, you know, again, for me, it was like, well, we can sit across the table from one another, you know, shoot the shit, get to know each other on a surface level, but yeah, diving down and deep into, you know, certain topics, whatever subjects. But for me, knowing someone, it's like, I want to know someone. It's like, okay, well, we come and do the podcast. Okay, well, let's suffer together.
Yeah.
Because that will show me who you are. As, you know, we can sit here and talk about it, but I'm the action man. It's like, fucking show me. And like when the cards are down and the chips are down and we're in the fucking trenches together, it's like, let's see what you got, And man, you proved yourself, man. Like I'll tell you, like, because there was no fucking quit in you. And, just like this podcast, like I was telling to you, like we were discussing before, it's like, out of the podcasts, I don't know if you know this, but the actual stats of podcasts and survival rates, it's so out of 90% of podcasts fail within the first 4 podcasts. So if you get to 5, you're in the top 10%, right? And then out of that remaining 10%, there's 90% of that actually fail. I think it's 24. So if you make it to the 25th, you're in the top 10% of the 10%. Now you're over 250. So it's like you are in the top 0.01% range of podcasting ever in the history of mankind.
Yeah.
So that alone, right, tells me that you're a motherfucker that doesn't quit, right? So you're my people.
Yeah.
So we can do this shit because I myself, I wouldn't spend my time with people that, it's not that I don't respect, but I know myself, I know who I am, and I know that average people, and again, nothing away from, the average lifestyle and everything, but that's just not me.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to apologize for it. And I'm not going to, it's just not who I am. And I'm like, well, I'm just not going to spend time there. There's nothing against them. We're just not going to be friends and we can't hang out because we got 2 totally different fucking lifestyles. And what I see them do makes me uncomfortable. What they say me do makes them uncomfortable. Like they're not going to fucking go, okay, cool, man. Yeah, I'll see you at 4 a.m., 2 a.m., whatever. Let's fucking do a 3-hour session.
Yep.
Jump in the ice bath in the middle of the fucking winter, right?
I'm still shaking.
Yeah, it's like they're not going to turn up, and that's cool. But that's not who I am or what I want. So, like I said, so that's you and yourself and the podcast and the history. It's like, yeah, you're like, mate, you've more than proved yourself. And this morning was just another example of you come to the party and man, strap on the boots and getting to fucking work.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, why did you say yes to me? Was it because you've seen that in me and what I've done with the podcast, or was there more to it?
No, that like I said, this is the first one I've done. I have, there's other people that have reached out to me as well.
Yeah.
But I value my time.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm not, look, and again, I don't like people who are like, look, man, I'm super busy, because I'm like, bullshit. I call bullshit on, anyone that says that they're too busy, because the same thing, I'll use training as an example. Like people that do reach out to me and they do want to train, like, and go, oh man, can we go for a session? I'm like, okay, I'll let's go tomorrow. Oh, I can't tomorrow, I'm too busy. I'm like, fucking ask me if you want to come and train, right? For whatever reason. I'm like, okay, well, I'll see you at 4 a.m. Oh, no, okay. Whatever fucking excuse it'll be, there'll be an excuse, right? I'm like, okay, cool. I'll see you 3 a.m. I'll see you 2 a.m. I'll see you 1 a.m. I will keep going until it's like, I know that no matter what you say, motherfucker, you ain't got shit booked in at 2 a.m. You're not going to a meeting. You're not going down the shops. Your fucking kids are asleep. Whatever it is, there is no excuse. I'll keep going until I find it. And then if it gets to a point, I'm like, well, you don't really want to train, right? Or you don't really because you're not finding time for it. So I'll just keep going to a point where it's like, that's for me training wise. It's like, there is no excuse and there's always a way to find it. And that weeds out people for me as well.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like, if you've got the gumption or you're going to show up or you're going to put in the work or whatever it is, it's like, all right, motherfucker, let's go. And that's why, again, the timing for me, it's like, it's not just, well, I do it because that sucks at that time of the morning or whatever it be. It's like, I do it because A, it's peaceful and everyone else is fucking sleeping. B, you get a whole fucking day in before everyone else gets up anyway. So it's like, I'm already, you're winning the day and you're beating everyone else. Yeah. So getting everything done, right? So there's so many positives to it. And again, it weeds out the people that don't want to do it as well. So it's like, and again, so I digress and go back to my time is valuable. It's like, my time is valuable. So I'm not going to spend it with people that don't prove it to themselves, right? And you've proven it to yourself, and I can see that, you got runs on the board, and you keep showing up.
Yeah,
and it's not just consistency, but it's dedication, right? And that's what I love about it.
Yeah. When I messaged you, I was just like a random message. I thought you were not going to read it or not going to reply or anything like that, because I've been following you for a couple of years and I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Because you're pretty secretive on social media. You don't share much.
No.
And I'm like, me being the curious character that I am, I'm like, I want to know more about you.
Yeah.
You seem like a high performing person. I want to be in the mix. I want to surround myself with people like you.
Mm.
And then when you responded and then you're like, yeah, I'm keen. And then you're like, yeah, we're going to go run, gym, ice bath. I'm like, oh, fuck, what have I got myself into here? Because as soon as you said that, I'm like, this motherfucker's going to test me. How far is he going to test me?
Yeah.
And that just proved this morning in the gym, how many fucking exercises do we need to do for one muscle group? Me nearly having a seizure. Bro, there was times where I was going to throw those weights and walk out that door, bro.
I mean, I thought I saw tears, but
I was wiping. And I was like, this motherfucker's nearly got me.
yeah.
But we pushed through it. Now, like, I can't feel my body, but I feel good.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, look, I'll take it to your original comment to be like, no one else that has been, so you've had over 250 guests on here, right? And you haven't had a morning or experience like this, right?
Mm.
Okay. That's what I live for. Not just the personal growth or the growth that, you know, your shoulders are going to experience over the next week or so when you're trying to recover.
I'm going to be jacked, bro.
Bro, listen, front row, bro. You're knocking people out. But I live for the experiences you'll never forget and the memories no one believes, right? So it's like the shit that stands out. Like, you're not going to go and tell a story to somebody where, you know, hey, what'd you do yesterday? I slept. No one gives a fuck, right? Like, what did you do that was extraordinary? Because they're the stories that people want to hear, and not just for yourself. They're the memories that you'll go on and go, fuck, out of 250 people, man, this did this. And I promise you'll never forget it.
No.
Ever, right? And that's it. I've made my mark. And it's not just me selfishly going, I've made my mark. It's like, we have done something to help both of us this morning. Like, fitness-wise, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, you know, and we have now a bond as well. And like I said, it's like we suffered together. We have a bond that it was like, yeah, man, fun. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, really cool. That was an experience that we had together. So we built that. It wasn't just us sitting across the table.
Yeah, definitely. I get this question asked all the time, like, who was your favorite guest? And I'm like, out of 250 episodes, how to answer it. Now, and
I know who your worst is.
Worst but best. But the thing is, as soon as someone asks me that,
Me after this.
yeah, exactly. As soon as someone asks me that now, what's going to come to mind? This fucking morning, this experience, the training together, then having this amazing conversation. I'm like, Clint straight away is going to be the best one.
Oh, did you hear that? So it's other 249 people, man. So just gonna get the name, guys.
Everyone else.
The next guest will, like, you know, he'll do all that and he'll like take you overseas or something, you know. There'll be something sharp deal on the end of it.
This is the benchmark right now.
Up you go.
You mentioned before, well, I mentioned that you're a very secretive person, and you said you know yourself and we only get one life. So who is Clint? Like, what do the listeners need to know about you to better understand the man that fucking sits in front of us today?
So, look, I say this to people, right? It's like, who are you, and what do you do, or even what do you want, right? And the response straight away is, "Hi, I'm Nick. I'm a podcaster." I'm like, no. Like, Nick was a name given to you by your parents that you had no say over, and podcasting is what you do.
Mm-hmm.
It's not who you are. Who are you? So, like, that's what people and again, this is like surface level shit, right? And it's like, have you ever actually sat with yourself and gone, fuck, who am I? And then, what do you want out of life? I guarantee, and I've asked this question to hundreds of people, and no one has been able to come back to me and go, fuck. Like, I see it in their face. Like, you watch them because they take a minute and they go, I don't know. I'm like, what? So, and I was in the same situation. Probably, how old am I? Maybe probably 10, 15 years ago type of thing. And I sat with myself and asked myself that question. And I'm like, I was on a certain path, and I'm like, who am I? What do I want out of life? Like, and then it didn't happen overnight. Like, I think it took, man, it would have taken, I would say, years, honestly, to be like, what actually fulfills me? What makes me happy? What fucking drives me? And I know now for who I am. My entire North Star is to help people. Like, and that is it. Like, I want to help. At the end of the day, I want to help as many people as I possibly can. And then leave some kind of eternal, not generational, because people will go, I want to look after my family. Cool. And then the next step will be generational. I want to fucking build something that is eternal, as in a machine, a company, whatever it be, that is unbreakable, no matter what, will last the test of time, and that will continually survive after I'm gone, my kids, and everything, and then continue not just to help my immediate family, but as many people as I can. So it's like, that's my end goal. So then I go, okay, cool. So that's set. And then you got to pull it back from there and go, okay, so if you want to help as many people as possible, then where does that start? Okay. And where does that start? It starts with me. So I am my most valuable asset. I know that. I know if anything happens to me, like my family are fucked, and then it goes out from there. Okay. So I've got to look after myself. So training, diet, like all the little things. And then you break it down to your day like that. And you go into micro where it's daily habits, right? So how do I become not just the best version of myself, but how am I able to perform the fucking highest level for 20 hours a day, right? And then switch it off, go to sleep, and then wake up again, and then do it all again with like 150% energy with everything that you're doing. Well, you got to do all these little hacks on the way, and that's how you do it. And again, that took a decade to work out, and I'm still doing it. Like, I'm still learning new shit, or every day it's like I'm trying new things, or I'm, like adding things in, or I'm, not trying that. So it's like, I'm the most self-analytical person on myself from daily routines. And then, you're setting targets or whatever it be, in business, personal, whatever it be. And then you're pulling apart your markers as you're going through life as well, and going, okay, what's working, what's not. So from there, I guess the whole helping people, it starts with yourself. And then once you've got yourself right, or to a position where you think yourself like you're actually doing okay with it, then it becomes your immediate family, right? So then it basically goes from there. Then it's extended family, and then your friends, and then goes on and so forth. That's kind of where I've been at myself and my journey for, like I said, it took me, well, personally, I'm still doing it. Like, and it's happening every day, you know what I mean? So helping people, who am I? Yeah, I want to help people. I've said it 9 times. I guess, who am I? Look, I'm an energetic, ADD-riddled, problem-solving, savage with a bit of lunatic executor. That's who I am. And put all that into, a formula, and then the results will be, I'll be able to help as many people as I can. So it's like, results equal this. Like, all my habits equal the result. The result is to help people. Cool.
Do you feel like it's ever evolving though, who you are?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, fuck. I mean, like, we were discussing it this morning. It's like, mate, if my 18-year-old self, I'm fucking, I've evolved 100 times over since then. I know for a fact that in life, it's like, bro, if you're not growing, you're dying. Like, that's a fact. And like I said too about, I think we were talking about the friendships or the environments, and everything else, that if that shit even stays the same, it's like, well, you're going to stay there. Are you going to stay with those same people? And that might not be a bad thing, but for me, the environment was fucking toxic. The people weren't benefiting me at the time. You know what I mean? Like at that stage of my life, they weren't beneficial. So, and once I pulled myself out of it, worked out, okay, this is who I am and this is what I want to do. I'm like, well, are those people, that environment and everything around me at this stage of my life, is that going to help me get to there? Fuck no. Okay, what is? Well, all right, being around the top performers around the world, like I seek out the top 1% of the 1% globally in the industries that I'm interested in. I pay big money to get access to them, and then I fucking learn from them, right? I talk that, and the beautiful thing about social media is, I mean, like things like this, right? It's like, so this podcast gets to happen because you can just reach out and, you know, throw a text out, whatever. You know, I speak to billionaires daily, like entrepreneurs, like guys that own like global conglomerates and stuff. Like they, like on a daily basis, if I've got questions for them or anything else, and that's the beautiful thing I think about social media, whereas like you have access, direct access to these people. And I think a lot of them that I speak to as well, mate, they want to help. Like they're not, you know, they don't ignore, like, look, some do, but it's going to be like, look, there's fuckwits everywhere. But a lot of them, like, and I look at, like, I'd be like, well, look at myself and go, fuck, if I got to that stage, when I get to that stage and, you know, people are reaching out and shit, like I would be like the same. It'd be like, look, man, like, sure, if I can help, you know, or if I can, you know, assist in any way, like, let me know. So I think people are like, especially at that level, like they are a lot more willing than what people think. And some are generous. Like I said, some will ignore you, but it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. And like when it comes to podcasting in the beginning, I was so scared to reach out to people. But what I found is people love to give their time and help and talk about what they're doing and just reach out. Like just like what I did with you. And by doing that and by building your network, like I have a vast range of network now just from doing this for 3.5 years. I can connect with so many different people. If I need something done, I'm like, okay, cool. I know who to go to for that.
You got the guy.
Yeah. And it's just like you seeking out, the people that you seek out are a lot higher than what I can, but it's just a stepping stone. The bigger you get, the bigger your network gets, and you're like, okay, cool. I need something. Let's go here. That person can help me. It's not, I think the world we live in, we're all about ourselves, and it's all about selfish, and I don't need anyone's help. I can do it all by myself. But it's not like that. You need to leverage the people around you, but also give back to them as well. Not just take. You've got to give back.
Have to. Yeah. I mean, the whole giving back thing, I've never taken anything off anyone first ever. And like and even taking it's like, I'm just like when I do need something, it's like, look, I'll just like, it's not like, hey, get this done. It's like, look, do you mind, or can you advise, or like just something if I've got questions or I know that someone may be able to help me. But yeah, never. And I do the same thing in business, mate. It's like, even when, you know, it's a new client or trying to, you know, bring people on or whatever it be. I mean, I've got accounts everywhere, from just simple things like, it's like, you know, sending someone a box of donuts, or do you know what I mean? But it's not just, you know, you're working out who I am pretty quickly. It's like, you know, there'll be a $500 box of donuts, but I mean, this box will be literally as big as this table, and just send it into the office. I want balloons, this, that, and then like, and that's the event, and that's how, but like, and that's what I'll want, like, to be like, look, and I'll expect nothing in return, but I might get a phone call, right? And that's the conversion. Will be like, I'll give, and be like, look, man, it's it, like, and for me, that's worked, right? Because giving with zero expectations, man, I don't know, like, I think it goes back to my North Star with it. It's like, I enjoy it. Like, it selfishly gives me a sense of fulfillment to be like, look, you know what? I don't care if they don't call me or not. Like, I know that like the experience, like this morning, that's made their day. You know what I mean? So I feel good about myself.
Yeah. And it creates good karma as well. you may not be expecting shit to come your way, but naturally I feel good stuff will come your way if you do good things.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I do a bit of philanthropy, sorry. But money, like, it's like, you know, donating money to certain charities and stuff. Again, it does make you feel good, but I spend a bit of my time with vets. So I'll go into it a little bit. So it's like the reason that I do it is because I think that they're the modern day warriors. They go to war. They obviously fight for our country, our freedoms, and everything else. They come back and they're treated like nothing, right? As in, these women and men go over and fight a war that you and I don't see. They're doing things that, you know, you will only see on movies, and you can't begin to comprehend or fathom what that would actually do to a normal person, or just a person in general, because they are people.
That's who they are. They're normal people before they go into that.
Fucking normal people. And they come back to society and they know what they know, which is that part of it. And for me, it's like they are willing to sacrifice the ultimate sacrifice, being life itself, for fucking people that they don't even know, i.e. me and you.
Mm-hmm.
Go over there because the government says so. And then come back, and then, mate, they're not paid well, right? So the whole thing with that is like, I leverage, I guess, what I have learnt in business and what I know. It's like, so I educate them as in what they can do, like from the sense of leveraging their skill set if need be, how to make more money, because they're like I said, they don't earn much. You know, investment wise, whatever I can do, and we're like this whole stuff, like, you know, you can give money to a charity, cool, but to spend time with someone like that who will, like, is hurting, or like might just need someone to sit across from like this and just have a chat and just, you know, are you okay?
Just a connection piece.
Checking in and being like, yo man, like, I don't want to go into story time about some of the shit that I've heard from them, because I just think that's our story. Like, no disrespect, but it's just, but yeah, it's the things that they see and the things that they do, mate. It's, you know, I take my hat off. Like, I'll do anything for any of them, any time of the day or night. So yeah, time, yeah, anyone can write a check. But spending time with them and actually, you know, showing that you give a fuck, because they gave a fuck about you. Just remember that when you were fucking sleeping, they were over there defending you. So why would I not spend my time helping them where I can?
I was having this conversation on a previous podcast, and a lot of vets that come back, they can end up homeless as well. Mm-hmm. They're pushed to the curb. No one cares about them. People think, oh, they're just going to go spend all the money on drugs and alcohol. And I had that kind of perspective on it. As like, why would I give a homeless person money? Because that's what they're going to do. And I've had an experience with that where this guy comes up to me, hey bro, can I have some money? I'm like, yeah, sure, doing the good thing. 2 minutes later, I see him walking out with a goon bag. I'm like, come on, bro. Like, really? Come on, man.
Oh, that wasn't your money.
That was someone else. That was someone else's. That was the guy 5 minutes before you. Yeah, and that kind of put a bad taste in my mouth. And the guest that I had on, because he was homeless for 10 years, and he's like, have you ever thought why they do that? If you were in that circumstance, wouldn't you do drugs and alcohol to escape?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you do that? And don't you do that? Because Netflix, social media, everyone escapes in their own kind of way.
Yeah.
Yeah, with a homeless person, you're a grub, kicking to the curb.
Yeah.
We're not actually taking action and helping them. And yeah, we may be able to take them out of the external environment, put them in housing, but you haven't changed the internal. You haven't connected with them. You haven't given them a sense of purpose and time. That's how we're going to make change. And it's the same with vets, homeless people, like all those kind of people that just feel lost in this world and feel like the only way out is drugs, alcohol, and then eventually taking their own life. It's fucking sad, bro. It's sad that people get to that point and then feel like the only way out is to end their life. Like we lose 8 men a day to suicide, which I believe is 100% preventable. It's fucking ridiculous.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, look, I think the vets might be a little bit different. Like, obviously, I can't speak. Look, everyone's situation is different, right? But I know that, again, just the guys that I've spoken to and work with, a lot of it has to do, and again, I'm not an expert about any of this shit, but it's like, I think that a lot of it has to do with a sense of purpose. Like, you take a vet who's come back from war, put him back in society, and it's like, well, I don't walk around with a gun anymore. I'm not, protecting things. I don't have a said purpose back here. What do I do? And they're lost. And the same thing happened with Armstrong and Aldrin, right? So when they went up to the moon, conspiracy theorists, when they got back, they both had to go to therapy because it was such a big event in their lives. Now, these are astronauts, right? These are fucking some of the most highly educated people in the world at the time. And they lost their sense of purpose because once they had achieved the goal that was set, they got back and their identity was like, well, now what? Now what do I do? So they had no sense of purpose. Well, they thought they didn't, right? Because it's like, well, they've achieved it. Now what? So if you do that to like an average person on a daily basis, it's like, well, I'm surprised it's only 8. Really? Right? And depression, like, again, like, I don't know anything about, like, just on what I see, like,
Have you struggled at all with any of that?
No, like, I'll tell you this, like, I did a retreat probably 2 years ago. So I had a training session with David Goggins. It was on Australia Day. And after the session, there was ice bars on the roof of the hotel. You would love it. There was ice bars set up on the roof of the hotel. I can't remember the name of the hotel. Anyway, I was in the city, whatever. And we jump in, do all the ice stuff, did all the breath work.
Yep.
And these guys were actually Wim Hof guys that had worked with him and they worked with him. So they reached out to me. It was probably like 6 months after that type of thing. And they were running a retreat down in the snow. I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll come down. Like, tell you. So I went down there and there was a segment it was like 2 days type of thing where, some of the things we do would be, strip down in your undies and then walk up.
Yeah, I've seen stuff like that.
Yeah, right. So we jumped off there was a abseiling. So we did that. Naturally, my group was the last group to go. So we ended up trekking out got to this cliff, and naturally the weather rolls in and it's fucking like 10 o'clock at night. Starts like a fucking blizzard coming down and they're like, all right. So we're jumping off this, like the abseiling down this cliff. It's pitch black. Now it's in the middle of the night, fucking freezing. And anyway, that was just one of the things we did. So, and then the ice, did like another ice bar thing, but this was a natural one. So again, like trekking through the snow for like fucking 4 hours, whatever it is, find an open lake and then jump in there with a bunch of dudes and fuck everyone's screaming and shit. So all that stuff, I was like, I was adaptive to it and like everything else. But there was a segment over that 2 days where it was like, all right, we're going to go deep on feelings and, and everybody that kind of spoke had something traumatic, right? As in like some real shit. And there were vets there even, right? So I was listening to these stories And I'm like, I thought something was wrong with me at the end of it.
Because you didn't have a story?
Because I didn't have a story.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say that I don't have a story about it. But then I start, because I'm self-analytic, going, fuck, is it a problem with me that I think I don't have a story? Or do I have stories that I'm suppressing? Or is it the fact that I just think that nothing's a problem? And I'm like, is that a problem that I think nothing's a problem? I'm like, huh. And then I start going down the fucking rabbit hole. And then I start spiraling because I'm like, fuck, should I be paying more attention to my feelings, emotions and all that? Or is that just going to get in the way? Because I'm very like self-direct with it, with all of that, because I'm like, look, is this going to help me get to my not, like, is it going to help me? Yes or no? Then fuck it off. If it's going to help me, cool, bring it on. Like, again, it's the reason that I fucking value time. It's because I know how finite it is. Man, we're a blip, right? And it's like, I have so much shit to do, to conquer, to do all this shit. And I'm like, I need to know, is that feeling good to hold on to? Is it worth me bringing something up or reminiscing and staying caught on the fact that 10 years ago or 20 years ago or 30 years ago, something happened to me? What the fuck does it matter now? Yes, something, like, play out the example if it did, right? Plays out, something bad happened to me. Is it bad? 100%. It's fucked. It's really bad. Okay. What are you going to do about it? What am I going to do about it right now? Nothing. Hey, fuck, if it happened this morning, what are you going to do about your shoulders? Nothing. Cry about it for a couple of days probably, but you can't do anything about it now because it's in the past, right? And again, I'm like, well, so why are we talking about it? It's happened. Like, I'm not saying that some people with some situations, like, they would probably feel better to talk about it. And, you know, you hear like psychiatrists and all that shit, right? Like, I don't really, with psychiatrists and stuff, like, if you speak to them, and the general consensus is like, as soon as you sit down and everything, it's like, they try and bring up shit and like, everything's happened in the past. And they're like, man, 90% of the time, it's derived from your parents, right? Is where I think they all just go, it's like they've all got the same fucking check card. You go, oh, your dad was a prick. Oh yeah, mum didn't love you enough. Fucking, and I'm like, what? Like, what the fuck does it matter? Like, what does that, am I going to sit here even and talk about that? Like, and again, for me, that's just who there is always someone out there who's had it worse and has done it better. Meaning that someone else has had a more fucked up situation than you and has come out of it better than you have. And that's a fact. Like, if you go on to, bro, watch some of the Tony Robbins videos, right? Where there's a chick, I'll never forget the footage I saw about one of his live events. Man, she was like sexually abused by her dad, her uncle, fucking this wasn't just like a one-off thing. This was for years and years. Like, you got to think that she's been through some shit, right? And she stood up and was like, I'm not good enough. And like, yeah, like, you could fucking see, like, she was on the verge of, you know, just tapping out. And she said it and like breaks down crying. And you know, and Robbins even says the same thing. He's like, look, you know, it's probably the worst situation that you could possibly be in. But you now are at an opportunity, two things. You're at the bottom, right? There's nowhere else you can go but up, firstly. Secondly, you can be an advocate for people that has actually happened to. Meaning that if you decide to say, look, what's happened to me was fucked, and I'm going to just sit in here and say, look, for the rest of my life, so I'm going to spend my entire life now sitting in here in this misery, because it would be easy to fucking do, for sure, and granted and warranted, to say that, look, I'm going to be miserable for the rest of my life because these things happened to me. Or alternatively, you can be like, look, these things happened to me. It was a fuck situation. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out there and I'm going to be a spokesperson for all the women, men, whatever, that this particular thing has happened to, and I'm going to show them that there is another way, and you can build from that and show them and inspire fucking people to be like, look, we've all been through it. Ooh, they've been through that particular thing, and look at me now.
Get purpose from it.
Get the purpose back, right? So yeah, like that's.
Yeah, I think I heard Tony Robbins say that. Like our purpose comes from our pits, our darkest moments in our life. That's where our purpose comes from.
Yeah.
And we can either sit there and have the mental health pity party or Paul me, this happened to me, or we can go out there and fucking make change about it. And it's something that I've recently gone through. So I never had the best relationship with my dad growing up. We still lived together, still parents together, everything like that, but we never had the best relationship, and I had a lot of blame and resent towards him. And it wasn't until last year where I kind of unpacked a lot of this shit, and I was like, what is this serving me? I have all this pent up negative energy inside me, and I'm using that as an excuse not to fucking go out there and achieve the things that I want to achieve. Fuck excuses, that's it. And then as soon as you let go of that, bro, you can feel yourself like weight lifted off your shoulders. There's so much love and gratitude within you. And it's like, okay, cool. That happened when I was younger. It's not to say it was good or bad, but it happened. I have empathy for you. I have empathy for the situation, but it's time to move on. Like we were speaking about this morning, we only get one life. We're going to sit here and do nothing, or we're going to sit there and go out there and achieve conquer shit. And another conversation I've been happening lately, and it brought it up for me, is when you're sitting there at the retreat going down the rabbit hole, fuck, is something wrong with me, all this kind of shit. This month is actually mental health month for men, and then there's various other days like, are you okay? Yeah. And I asked the question, are these events good or bad? Because are men going to be walking around now feeling like, oh, is there something wrong with me because everyone's asking, are you okay? What's your thoughts on that?
Look, I mean, I would say that, is it okay to have feelings? Sure. I mean, we all have them. But my perspective is situational, meaning that you and I can have the same thing happen to us, but it's the emotion that you attach to that event that will dictate the outcome. Meaning that, for example, let's go real dark, right? We both have cancer, right? And it can't be treated, or whatever the fuck it is. And you go, we both just take it on and say, okay, cool. So we're both now fucked, all right? So what are we going to do about it? So we both have the same situation presented to us, and how are we going to react? So you can go one way and I can go the other. Now that's a real fucking dark way to start, but that's a fucking reality. That's life. Yeah? Like, suffering and situations with life are going to fucking arise. That's part of it. But it's what you do about it. So there's controllables and uncontrollables, right? Everyone knows that shit, right? I can't control the fact that you and I now have cancer. It's fucked. I wish we didn't, but that's life. As black and white as it is, that's what it is. But we both have an option now. And what emotion are we going to attach to it? We could be like, well, it's not the wrong option, but that's the negative option would be, I'm going to just sit and, close everyone off, or, and again, but it's not, is that the negative option? That's my perspective of the negative.
It's like,
option.
What's right and wrong?
That's it. So who the fuck am I to judge anybody or anyone's situation? I don't judge fucking no one about anything, because that's their life. They've been through shit. They can do what they want. I am no one to judge anyone. I judge myself harder than anyone, but I judge nobody. Like, cool. That's who they are. That's what they want to be. Again, I don't have time for it. Cool. Here if you need me. But the other, again, in brackets, the positive would be, well, look, I've had an amazing life. I've done so much shit. I've lived 10 lives, right? And I'm going to fucking really double down for the next X amount of time that I have left, which, again, it's what I do. Like, I do that shit daily. I live like it's my fucking last day. I really do. Like, and that's how I get so much out of, I feel I get so much out of life because I do everything. I don't give a fuck. I don't wait for nothing. I literally live because you don't know when it's going to be, when your time's up. Like, and so many, like, fuck, man, so many people live like they're going to live forever. And I've never been like that, ever. Because I'm like, man, give it to me all now. I want it all now. Fucking do it all. Like, I'll run 100 miles a day. And it's just like, I just feel like time is so limited. Give it to me. And that's like, so, I mean, me personally, I probably wouldn't change that much. So like, I don't know. I'd somehow try to find another gear again, I guess. But yeah, I think, well, that's my take on that side of it anyway.
Quick one. This podcast is now sponsored by Savvy Beverages, the 100% all-natural brain-boosting nootropics drink. Savvy have actually just revamped all their flavors, and let me tell you, they are amazing. My favorite flavor being the mixed berry, but they also have lime and a new flavor, passion fruit. But I'll be honest, taste is not the only reason why I love Savvy. I used to struggle with coffee, any sort of energy drink, anything that had caffeine in it, I could not have because it would set off anxiety within me. Now, what I love about Savvy is it has a 2-to-1 ratio of caffeine and a little ingredient called L-theanine. Now, here's the kicker. L-theanine allows you to experience the energy boost of caffeine without those pesky anxious side effects. It's honestly a game changer, and it's why I continue to drink Savvy. So if you're interested in trying out Savvy Beverages for yourself, head over to their website at www.savvybeverage.com.au. The link will be in the description. And as a special treat, they're offering an exclusive discount just for you. So use my discount code BETTER20, so that's BETAR20, during your checkout to receive 20% off your order. Let's get back to the episode. How do you process emotions? Because I feel like as a human, we should be able to feel the whole gamut of all the emotions that are out there. Is it for you picking and choosing what's going to serve you in that situation? So, for example, say your partner passed away. Obviously, you're going to be heartbroken, sad, grieve.
Yep.
What would you do in that scenario? And touch wood, that never happens.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I'm not saying that I'm emotionless. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, the event played out again. So the event happens. Worst tragic thing in my life, right? Of course I would feel pain, suffering, the emotions would come for sure. But there would be a time where I would be like, okay, like anything, bro, it's still your life as well as it was hers and ours together. I'm like, but she would want me to as well move on with my life, and not spend the rest of my life every day in a corner, crying. It'd be like, well, what's the point of me being alive then? Like, that's not live. Like, and again, that's my opinion. It'd be like, for me, that's not living. And she would know that. She'd be like, can keep doing what you're doing, build your shit, do whatever. But like, there's a time for, I think, with death again. I mean, we're going dark. No,
it's the reality.
No, but it's fucking good because that's like, with this whole concept of this is what I wanted to be like, because I'm a fucking realist, and it's like, people don't talk about it because it's like, oh shit, I don't know, like, is that really, it's like, fuck you, like, let's talk about it. This is life, motherfucker. It's going to show up. This is why, like, it's the chosen and unchosen suffering. You've heard, like, and again, it's like, I choose to do the hard shit so that, you do the hard shit in life becomes easy. Do the easy shit in life becomes hard. Fucking pretty simple, yeah? So you do the hard shit. So I know I want to be built. So even again, I bring it back to the daily habits of, the runs, the training, the getting up early, doing all the shit that I fucking hate to do, because I know that myself, that when life comes around and the cancer cut or whatever the fuck it is comes around and something, my wife leaves me, my wife died, like, or the worst shit in the world that could possibly happen happens. I need to be built to a point where I'm fucking titanium, that nothing can hurt, like, as in, as best as I can, nothing's going to get inside. And if it does, then I'm still built a hard exterior and interior enough that I can weather the storm. Because if you're not, and something like that happens and life shows up and life goes, what's up, motherfucker? I promise you that you are going to be, bro, there'll be nothing left of you. Or this is where the people spiral out and go to, you know, the depression like kicks in or, you know, because they can't fucking handle it mentally and physically. It's like, you know, you can't handle shit. If you're not strong in the mind, you're fucked, right? Bro, life will show up and you won't be ready for this shit. It's like the kids that get cuddled and fucking, you know, the entitlement and, you know, everything, I'm due everything. And it's like all this life because, you know, mummy and daddy looked after me for 20 years. They go out into the real world, life punches them in the fucking face and they can't handle it. So they go home, run home crying. They go, what the fuck are you, mum, you never told me about all this shit. Your dad, what's going on? They're like, this is life, motherfucker, get up. Well, get the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is it, right? Like, I mean, I was, like, and I look at my childhood with that shit. I was never given fucking anything. I did everything myself. Everything. I was different, for sure.
Different in what way?
Look, I did a lot of things alone. But again, because I would see what was the normal thing to do, and that just never enticed me. You know, training was always a big part of my life. Yeah, I never today and even then, it was like I never wanted to just do the norm. And I don't know what it was, but even now it's like the closer I get to an average life, like if we would have been sitting here 5 years ago, my biggest fear in life was failure, right?
Yep.
Failure. It's a standard one. Everyone's got it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay. But then I thought about it and I was like, do I really fear failure? And I'm like, and I remember, like, you know, you remember being a grommet running around and, like, you know, you're chasing girls at, you know, primary school, high school and that. And I was like, I get rejected all the time. I'm like, that's failure. You know, I'm failing. Failed at business, failed at fucking plenty of things, you know. And I'm like, I'm not scared of failure. And I wasn't. And I'm like, I fail every day now. I'm like, so then I'm like, it's not failure that I'm scared of. It's normality. So I'm like, so how do I bridge the gap between this is the normal life, right? So you leave school, find a missus. Usually the wife will be from the same school or same area, same district. This is how fucking benign we are, right? That we won't even go out of the suburb to find the right partner. Then society says that we need to go and get a loan and buy our first home because that's the Aussie dream. Okay. Then you work for 30 years, punch out a couple of kids, you retire for 10, you die, and then the first week of you being dead, your kids sell the house. I'm like, I would rather dance in traffic than that happen to me. Because for me, again, I'm like, that's the average life. And I'm like, I don't want that. I'm like, that's my biggest fear. So I have to do everything in my power to basically bridge the gap and push me as fucking far away from that line as I possibly can. And how do I do that? Daily habits. Start, right? So how do I strive for more? I've got to be the best person I can possibly be. I've got to outwork everyone. I've got to have more energy. I've got to, if I can do it, how am I going to do that? How am I going to do that? How am I going to do that? I'm going to do that by, okay, all right, cool. All right, let's go.
That's interesting. See, for me growing up, I felt different, but I see that as a bad thing for being different.
Right.
Because external voices would put me down for being different.
Right.
So then that killed my confidence, my self-worth, everything like that.
Yeah.
Then total opposite to you, I was coddled by my mum.
Yeah.
Like I was big mama's boy, as I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Like I never stepped out of my comfort zone.
Yep.
Naturally shy, quite introverted kid. And it wasn't until the last couple of years, like starting this podcast, that it's really pushed me outside of my comfort zone and made me realize like that's where the fucking growth is. Like this last 3.5 years of my life, I've grown way more than the previous 20 odd years. And it's just by stepping outside of your comfort zone. Yet so many people live their whole lives in comfort.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? Like there's so much more out there.
They're scared because people don't like what they don't know. And mate, no matter what it is, if I'm going in on anything, it's, you've seen a couple of the things this morning. It's like, bro, we are going in. Then there's fucking balls to the wall, all in. I don't give a fuck what it is. That's happening because I don't like. For me, that's who I am. Yeah, I don't know, because again, I know the reason of it is because that's what everyone else doesn't do, right? And I've always been the person. I'll always be the first person in, no matter what. So my fuck it. All right, let's go. Because no one else is going to do it. I've never waited for anybody. Because if you wait for, like, who's coming?
No one.
Who's coming? Yeah, you're going to wake up when you're fucking 50 years old and go, oh, thought my dad was coming. He was going to show me. I thought dad was going to show me how to build this. I thought mum was going to come down and fucking pull that up. I thought she was going to fucking put the books over there. Where's mum? Where's dad? Mummy's boy. They're not fucking coming. No one's coming to save you. It's you. If you don't know how to do shit yourself, figure it the fuck out. It's up to you. No one gives a fuck about you, right? No one. So I was self-sufficient and have been my entire life because I'm like, I know what I want. I don't know how to get there because I didn't at the stage, but I know that I didn't want this. I want that. So how do I get that? Okay. Well, I can't listen to, and this is where I shut off because I was like, I can't listen to my immediate family or anything because no one's where I want to be. And this is where the seeking out of the 1% of the 1%ers, right? So I was like, Walter, that's where I want to be. Okay. So I need to listen to those motherfuckers because they are where I want to be. Okay. So I'll shut out everyone else. I use the analogy to, I'm not going to go to a personal trainer who's 300 kilos to get a diet program or to show me how to work out, right? So same thing with my finances, for example. Why am I going to go see a financial advisor who I'm worth more than? That to me just doesn't make sense. So it's like, if I want to be somewhere in my life, as in there's a target, there's a goal, whatever, then why would I not be asking that person how they did it? Because they are where I am. They've got the runs on the board like the podcast, they've got the backing behind them where I go, they are where I want to be. So cool, let's work out how I get there.
That's it. And we live in 2023 now. You don't have to physically be with that person too. Podcasts, books, YouTube, there's so much information out there that you can gain from. I want to ask, what are some of the biggest lessons you've learned from seeking out these high performers?
Well, mate, I'm a self-taught, self-made multimillionaire because of exactly that. Well, I mean, it started with literally Google and YouTube. Like you with your podcast.
Yep.
It was exactly the same with me. I started with just watching videos. Actually, it was the first podcast that I ever listened to. I went on to I don't even think the app. This is how fucking old I am. I don't even think the app for podcast was actually an app at this stage. It was like, I swear to God, I think it was like on, it must have been on iTunes or something, but I was like on there, I'm like, and it was still like a website thing. Like it was bizarre. Anyway.
Fuck your own cunt.
Yeah. Back in my day. And I typed in like motivation or something, And it was like, I was 17 driving around in a fucking a plumbing truck. And I just typed and I was just like, fuck, man, I was driving around and I was just lost, you know. Like I said to you, you know, I'm originally obviously a plumber by trade, but again, going to the work sites and doing all that, I'm like, this is not my life. Like, I just couldn't see myself being a fucking 50-year-old plumber. And I'm like, for me, that's just, I couldn't do it. So I was driving around in a truck, Googled or fucking iTunes motivation, and it was Andy Frisella's MFCEO project popped up. And I shit you not, it was like episode 2 or something. Like this is no, that's what I'm saying. Like I was young. Yeah, man. And I was like, fuck. And then obviously then it was episode 2, so there was no other content, and his was I don't know if it was the only one, but it was obviously the first one that popped up. But he'd only had 2, so I only had fucking 2 hours of motivation to listen to. So every week I think he released another one, so I was fucking chirping on the beat going, fuck, this dude's like, he's hectic, mate, look at this. So when Andy and Ed Milet,
yep.
So when those two got together and they started Arate Syndicate, so the moment that started the syndicate, I was in, right? So I'm like, sign up, do it. That's right. I've done syndicates and shit, like, and to learn from, you know, 2 of the biggest entrepreneurs in the world, you know, it's always been amazing being a part of, you know, that team, that culture, that everything. Because they have fucking savages in there. They've got people that are just balls to the wall. They're there to get results. They're results driven people. There's no bullshit. There's no fucking, you know, I can't stand that shit myself. So it's like, motherfucker, we're there to work. Let's go. What do you need? What's going on? Talk to me, you know, action, speed, result. That's it. That's how it's driven. You know, and that helped me from learning from like even just those 2 as an example. Like, you know, a weekly calls that we do, you know, it's not probably 85% of it, 90% of it is business orientated. The other 10% or whatever is, you know, personal stuff. But, you know, they show you how to structure your life, you know, and then everything from your life like ends up being a part of your business, right? Because like it's all yin and yang. Everything works together. It's just a different element to it. So you'll find that if one's going good, then generally speaking, the other part of it, you know, your life will also be going in the same direction. And if it's not, then obviously, you know, you need to balance it up, or, you know, just check in with yourself or be analytical with yourself and basically pull it apart and go, okay, well, what's working, what's not? Because yeah, I don't know, like I find that if you're not performing in one area and you're giving more attention to it, it's going to catch up with you. Yeah. Or someone will check you. It won't be you, you know, if you're not spending enough time at home, or do you know what I mean? Whatever. It'll be like, oh, you got to kick up the ass for the missus going, yeah, fuck, that's right.
I've got that recently. Yeah. So much time focused on the studio and the podcast. Yeah. It's like, you know, I'm still here.
Yeah.
I've gone to the doghouse a couple of times, but it was
seeing that.
Yeah. It was the kick up the ass I needed, right?
Yeah.
And it's now really put me in a mindset of like, fuck, I'm so driven. I have all this purpose. I really want to take this to the next level. How can I also balance that with a relationship, with being a dad? Mm. How did you're not a father yet, but down the track you want to be a father, but how do you balance that now with your relationship with your wife?
Communication.
Yeah.
Communication is the key to everything. I mean, look, I can, to the best of my ability, you know, let Rach know what's happening for the next week, month, whatever. We sit down with our schedules and basically say, look, you know, these days I'm out, these days I'm, you know, whatever it be. But the communication just has to be so on point that it's like, look, if something's not working or it is, or I need to move something or whatever it is, it's just honest. You got to be upfront with it, get in front of it. Don't, that's a big thing. We do our best to have weekly date nights, for like, you have to stay in tune with each other. Like she's my fucking world. Like I wouldn't be here today. No way without her.
Yeah, I was going to say, you say you're very self-sufficient, but how important is it to have your queen right there next to you?
For sure. Like, look, I was alive, obviously, when I met her. Was I thriving? No. And yeah, for sure. Like if anything happened, like, it's always the first thing that would, and the only thing to me that would matter. Do you know what I mean? Like, so for sure. Yeah.
How has she helped you though? Like, just that support, the push.
Yeah, that just look. The push meaning that, like, I do what I do for her.
Yeah.
Like, right. So the inspiration and the drive and everything, it's like, yes, I do it for myself to a point, but it's like, I want the best for her. I want that she can go and do whatever the fuck she wants and have the ability to go anywhere in the world and do whatever she wants, whenever she wants, with whoever she wants, or whether that be with me, so we can go and do whatever we want together, because she's my best mate, for sure. Like, when, we travel or, we do anything, it's always me and her. Like, I can't remember, I can't tell you the last time where it's like I've gone and had a boys' night. Like, I don't do that shit. Like, I literally go, it's always me and her. Like, because she's my best friend. Like, something good happened, 100% she'll be the first person I'll want to ring and tell her about it. Something bad happens, I don't really tell her all the bad stuff. Like, look, it's not my job as a man. I feel like it's my job to protect her from the bad things, right? So it's like, I'll wear the brunt of whatever the fuck's going on, whether it be, again, personal, business, whatever it be. I don't want to put that weight on her, because I feel like, again, as a man, it's my job to protect her and provide for her,
Comes back to, open and honest communication about everything.
For sure. Yeah.
I can relate to the push, like, for you to work harder so you can provide for her future family. Like, as soon as my daughter was born, as I mentioned to you this morning, like, that was a big driving factor for me. I was like, I've got this little child now that I have to support. Like, I need to put my fucking ass into gear now and make shit happen, because I'm building the foundations for her.
Yeah. For
her future, to give her the things that she needs to, strive and succeed in whatever she wants to do. Mm-hmm. That's my role as a duty, as a father. Like, she doesn't owe me anything. I owe her everything.
Yeah, I understand.
And that's my biggest obligation as a parent, is to do the best job that I can, but also turn up as my best self.
Yeah.
Which is why, mind, body, spirit is all like my top priorities right now, because if I'm not in tune with myself, how am I meant to turn up as the best father for her?
Yeah, for sure.
So fucking important, bro.
Yeah.
You spent some time with Gary Vee, didn't you?
Yeah, he got.
And what was that like? Because he's actually the person that put me on this journey.
Okay. How?
I started following him. I was like, who the fuck's this crazy American entrepreneur guy? He came to Sydney in 2019, the Success Resource event. I remember sitting there in the crowd. I was like, this is awesome. Imagine if I could do something like that. Imagine if I could have the impact on that scale. And at the time, I was low confidence, low self-worth, had this little voice in my head, you can't fucking do that, Nick. You can't even communicate to people.
Yeah.
I had an internal battle with myself. That moment, I was like, I can either continue living the life that I'm living, or I can make a change and fucking have an impact. At the time, I was in university, dropped out the next week, started working in my family business, bought my camera, started vlogging, started podcasting, and now we're here.
This is a week after the event?
Yeah. Yeah. So that was a crazy change. And he's someone it's been a massive catalyst for this journey. What was it like working with him? What are some of the lessons you've learned from Gary Vee?
Yeah. Look, he's a character, that's for sure. Super high energy. He actually didn't, at that 2019 one, I'm pretty sure I'd have to go back and check my Insta, but that actually, when he was on stage and even that whole delivery and the performance, that was actually pretty benign to him. Like, it was like, that wasn't actually who.
It was chilled. It was like relaxed.
That's not like,
I thought I was going in there like,
No.
this fucking crazy motherfucker.
it was because, if you go on my Insta, he called me after the event, and I think that's on there.
I watched that video, yeah.
Yeah. So, and he's like, what did you think? And I was like, and I said it to him, and I was like, what? Like, it's different. I'm like, because like I said, I've spent some time with him previously. He's been out a few times, and I've never seen the delivery like that before. So it was different. But yeah, look, generally, he's a high energy, look, super smart dude. Knows people. That's his skill, right? So he and I like to think that knowing people as well, like, that's one of my traits as well. Like, it's knowing people to a point, but then knowing not just who they are, but what they want, and then how to help, like how to get in there and help them, and like how, like, problem solving shit. Like, he really understands not just the market. I know he bangs on about market, because he has to, because he's a marketer, but he understands the people in the market. Yeah, super smart dude, obviously, and just highly driven, and a fucking work ethic, man. Like, he's doing fucking 18, 20-hour days every day because he has a goal. And the goal is to buy the New York Jets, and he'll get it. Mate, he's well and truly on his way. If he's got to be worth 10 figures. Has to be. Like, if he was to sell up everything today, for sure. Would he buy the Jets for 10? No, no way. I think they'd want a lot more than that, but I don't know, he might go in a partnership, whatever. But give him a couple of years and, he's 10 figures. He'll double his current value for sure. It's just a matter of time, which he builds businesses, he builds brands, and he's fucking good at it. So.
What's your thoughts on the whole grind hustle culture that he kind of portrays, and a lot of people go into it, I'm going to grind hustle all day, sleep 2 hours, and actually becomes crippling for a lot of people. What's your perspective? Do you think it's just some people are built differently?
You need sleep.
Yeah.
Right? I don't give a fuck who you are, who you think you are. Bro, sleep is the way for your mind and your body to recover. Like, you cannot. There was a test and a study done on a bunch of Marines. They were Navy SEALs and they were snipers, right? So they did a sleep study on them and put them out in the field and basically set them down. I think it was 10 or 20 of them, whatever. And they put them out there with 4 hours sleep, right? Let's just call it 4 hours sleep. And their target hit rate was 60%. And then they put them out there with 5 hours sleep, it went up to 70. And they put them out there with 6 hours, it went up to 80. And they put them out with 7 hours, and 90. And they put them out at 8 hours sleep, and it went up to 100%. So basically, each hour they were gaining 10%. This is, look it up. It's a pretty cool study. Like, when you actually watch it. So basically, if you're sleeping 4 hours, right, you're getting half the percent of performance value that if you'd be getting 8. So what's the right amount of sleep? Like, you got to work that. I think each individual is different. Most nights, I'm probably getting between 6 to 7. I try to get as close to 7 as I can, but it just depends. Like this morning, obviously, it was nowhere near that. But tonight, I'll try and go to bed earlier just so I can catch up on it. Like, some things, like, life's going to happen.
Yeah,
things are going to change. I am a creature of habit. I do have my, habitual regimes, daily regimes, but shit gets in the way, whatever. But each individual's different. You can't, at the end of the day, you can't fuck with science. Science is it, right? Like, as in, if they've done a study on this and this is scientifically proven that this is the result, that's the result. There's no if, buts, or maybes about it. If you want to fuck with that, and say that I can only run off 2 hours sleep, then I would say good for you. I would say run off 2 hours sleep, go have 8 hours sleep, and then do the same shit. And then I would like to see your performance difference, because if somehow you define science, then you are fucking Wim Hof. He's the only person that I know who's alive who's actually defied science. So bow down to Wim. But yeah, I don't think it's plausible, and definitely not over a long period of time.
In the beginning, you said for you to have an impact in this world, for you to help people, it starts with yourself. Is your health your number one priority? Because I'm seeing this a lot with a lot of really successful people. Like, yeah, business and stuff's important.
Yeah.
But if your health is not number one, you will never live or to achieve any of that.
No, you won't. So there's a famous saying. So it's like a man has a million dreams, right? But a sick man has one to get better. That's it. So if you don't look after yourself and you are impacted by any which means way there is, it's like everything will, like, play it out. You get sick tomorrow. What's the one, bro? You're on the fucking bed. Or you're in the lounge, right? You're not moving. All you want to do is get better. Fuck this place, right? These days don't exist right now because you can't even get here. You can't walk outside, right? So it's like, I need to get better. So it has to be primarily focused for me, for sure, because I that's what I know is a fact. So that will impact me, right? And the same thing is like, and again, we'll go back to it's the same thing with the relationship with, the wife. It's the most important thing. If something happened or something went wrong, nothing else in the world would matter but that to me, right? So it's like, that has to be paramount. My health has to be paramount. These key elements in my life have to be fucking running at 100% in order for then me to be able to have time for myself to then go out and hit the fucking, go out and hunt.
What's your relationship with money? I want this last little topic around financials, because there's a lot of successful people that are actually depressed. They have heaps of money, but they're not happy. Does that come from a lack of purpose and fulfillment?
I think, it's the same famous saying again. It's like, money can't buy happiness. Well, I say broke people say that. And it's not for the sense of, the more money you get, the more happy you will be. Watch this. The more money you get, give it away. Try it. Like, why do you think, like, Warren Buffett's worth fucking, I don't know, it's a couple $100 billion now, whatever it is. And 99.9% of it is going to charities when he dies. He's not giving any of it to his kids. Like, philanthropy at that level, it's like, what else is there, right? So it's like, you've got the norm and the average, right? Once you get a little bit and you get a little bit more and a little bit more, you can go buy other fucking toys like cars, houses, boats, all the bullshit, material things. Will they bring happiness? Some people say no. I call bullshit. Like, I would rather walk down and go out onto my boat or like travel the world or go and do this shit as opposed to not doing those things, right? Because I can, right? But I think a lot of people the whole topic of money disgusts me.
It's like taboo. We can't speak about it. I mean, knocking people down. Like tall poppies in
it's fucking disgusting because and I've always been like this. You go down to the marina and you see a boat, like, fuck, man, how good? Like, that's inspirational to me. You see the jets and all the bullshit, and you're like, man, that's sick. How'd you get that? Like, I want to talk again. It's like, I want to talk to them, want to be around them. I'm like, man, how'd you do that? How'd you do that? I'm inquisitive. I want to learn. Teach me, show me. Fucking, yeah, let's go. Like, I want to that fucking drive me. I'll go home. Like, I got to go get that. I got to get that thing. Yes, it's material. Yes, it's a goal, but it should inspire you. Not, oh, look at that rich fuckwit. Like,
yeah,
really?
Like the other day, we had a Lambo rock up here to come to the studio
in Penrith.
Yeah. He wasn't from Penrith, but I was very surprised he drove his Lambo to Penrith.
Was it on bricks when he left?
No.
No, he stole the whole thing.
Yeah. But like, everyone's looking and is like, fuck, they're probably all thinking he's a drug dealer or something. And probably it's like, bro, the guy's worked hard. He fucking deserves to drive a Lambo if he wants to drive in a Lambo.
Yeah.
Why knock people down for that?
Yeah. I think, look, that goes back to the same reason that people knock you down for being different. It's because they've given up on their hopes and dreams. They've succumbed to the normal life. And now it's like any chauvinistic things that's above that line, it's like, well, I need to hate on that because that's above what my expectations are of myself. And that makes me feel bad, so I'm going to hate it.
It brings out the insecurities.
Insecurities. You've given up on your fucking goals. You're happy with this shit. So everything above that line now, I hate. I hate you because you can go and do what you want. I'm stuck here with 7 kids and fucking 10 mortgages or whatever the fuck it is. It's like, well, hold on, I didn't put you in that position. And all of a sudden now you're hating on your life, and that's you hating yourself in your own life. Why project that shit onto someone else who just hasn't chosen that path or that's not them? Again, why judge someone else?
Exactly. And for me now being a parent, I know a lot of parents that use their children as an excuse not to go out and achieve things, which then leads to them resenting their children. For me, I'm like, fuck that. Yeah, I have a daughter.
Yeah.
But by me going out there and achieving the things I want to achieve, it's one, setting the foundation for her to be like, fuck, if my dad can do that, why can't I? But for other parents, it's like, you don't have to use your children as an excuse. You can travel, you can build businesses. It may be a bit different. It may take a bit longer.
Find a way.
Yeah, but there's always a way to get shit done.
Find a way.
I could have easily stopped this podcast. I'm like, oh, sorry, I'm a dad now. I'm just going to work, pay the bills. I'm like, nah, I'm going to build this studio. I'm going to take a day off work, which is less money for me. But since doing that, I've brought on more clients. So I'm actually making more money than working.
Yeah.
So it's like taking those risks, not using your children or anyone else as an excuse not to go out there and do something.
Exactly what we were saying before. So you had an event happen to you and you chose to do this way, as opposed to you had the event happen to you, aka had a child, and everything's their fault, and now I'm just going to go into my shell and I'm going to blame them for the rest of my life. No. Same event, different outcome.
Is there a fucking secret to success? Everyone's selling it these days. Come to my masterclass and gurus and shit. Click on my bio link and I'll tell it today.
Look, the secret to success, mate, look, I would say there's no one thing, there's no secret. It's you have to know what you want. You have to know who you are. You have to have core values around that. And you have to just do the fucking work. That is it. If you know, core value, like a lot of people look at core values as in, you know, they're big, like they're words and we're going to put them on the office wall and we're just going to sit them there. And then, you know, some people look at it when they walk in, some won't. And then they'll never actually impose them. But if you're honest, you know, you've got integrity, you do what you fucking say you're going to do. If you're talking the success route with business and stuff, do what you say, be honest, communication, show up and do the fucking work. It's I'm fucking serious. It's that simple. If just like this, right, you're doing what you say you're going to do, you're continually doing it, your dedication, motivation's bullshit. Motivation goes out the window because motivation's only good when times are good. But discipline is, I'm going to show up every fucking day, no matter what, no matter if it's raining outside, no matter whatever it is. And discipline will get you anything because you know what you want. I know that's where I need to be. Cool. I know what I need to do. It's going to take time. I'm going to show up every day. If you show up every fucking day for the next 10 years, I promise you, you will be your definition, depending on what it is, successful. That's it.
I heard Andy Frisella speak about the importance of building momentum when it comes to success, which falls into the discipline piece of turning up each and every day. And by building that momentum, by getting 1% better over the course of 1 year to 5 years, that's where the fucking real growth and that's where the real achievement comes.
For sure.
Because you are building that positive momentum, but it can also go the other way as well.
Oh, 100%. Like don't think that for a second that I have not fallen off the track. Like I've fallen off a couple of times in my life. Probably the worst I've ever fallen off was the past 12 months and 8 months, whatever it was, because we got married and then we traveled for 2-3 months, whatever it was. And there was a lot of things happening in the business realm for me, and I was getting hit from every which way. And I myself, my training, like I was trying to go, but man, like as in it fell off. Like I wasn't showing up every day, and I'm like, fuck. And I saw myself like what was happening, and then I'm like, man. And then I saw that impact everything. I was losing my energy, like as in, and I'm like, fuck. And then I'm not performing where I should be. So I'm like, fuck. I'm like, I watched myself fall off the rails. Yeah. And I'm like, man, get the fuck back on there now. And I'm like, okay. Like, and again, it was checking in with myself and going, you can see what's happening with everything now because of what you're doing. And I'm like, yep. Like I fucking talk to myself. I know I do it as well. I'm telling you, like, when people go, yeah, I talk to myself. I have legitimate conversations, like outspoken with myself. I'll be in the shower, walk around the house, and my wife would be like, yep, talking to yourself. Yep. She's like, what? She's like, what's going on today? And I'm like, oh, yep. And she's like, I saw this thing and I was like, look, if you're talking to yourself, that's one thing. But if you're responding to yourself, then that's a psychotic thing. I'm like, I respond to myself all the fucking time. I'm actually like, hey, Clint, what's going on? I don't know. Who's that?
I would call that self-awareness.
Self-awareness, because I'm like, fuck, do you see, like I said, man, I like that it's so self-analytical. I'm like, Clint, you see that what you're doing right now, that's doing it. I'm like, yeah. Like, so why are you doing it? Well, I'm doing that because I'm feeling like this and that's going to move. And I'm like, no, that's just stupid. Yeah, you're right. That is stupid. Okay, don't do that. All right, bye. Like, see you tomorrow. Like, see you soon.
I think it's important you do that, because if you're getting trapped up here, the scenarios, the situations seem a lot more bigger. And as soon as you speak it out and then you respond to yourself, you're like, fuck, this isn't really a big issue.
Yeah,
let's keep moving.
What are you doing here? Yeah, just shut the fuck up. Like, okay.
Yeah. So it's not crazy, bro. It's natural.
Yeah, cool. Sweet.
I do it too. So it's all good. I want to play a little game with you. So we have 1 to 22. So there's 22 questions here.
Fuck, all right. Yeah.
We'll go 2 questions. So pick a number between 1 and 22. And all these questions are questions asked from previous guests. So we have a closing tradition where the previous guest leaves a question for the next guest. And I've accumulated these questions over since I started doing it. Pick a number, 1 to 22.
16.
If you could go back in time, what would you tell your 7-year-old self?
Buy more crypto. No.
I got a funny story about that, bro. You know how I was telling you that I was on gear?
Yes.
So I used to buy that with Bitcoin.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. So imagine if I left my Bitcoin in there instead of buying gear.
Yeah, you'd be able to buy a little bit more right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would I tell my 7-year-old self? You know what I would tell my 7-year-old self? I would tell myself to keep doing what I'm doing, and that'd be it. Because I did have like, especially at that age as well, there was like, as a child, you don't know what's right? You just know what you're doing, and then that's kind of basically it. But you don't, like, there was still like, well, I'll do these things, but you don't know what it's going to be or what the repercussions might be 10, 20 years down the track. So I did have that thought, but again, I take it back because I was basically, fitness was my entire life from the ages of, then type of thing. My first time in the gym, I was 8.5 or something, right? So there you go. So it kind of works, 8.5 or 9 years old. And that was literally my life until I was like 20. That was like full time. And so I started there, and then it was like, I'm like, is this the right thing to be doing and focusing on? So I was like, I wasn't a drinker, I wasn't like any of that shit until, like I said, those basically the Grom years when it was just like fucking party time. But is this the right path and is this the right thing? So that you do question yourself as a kid because you don't fucking know. And I would say, mate, look, everything's going to be fine. Just keep doing what you're doing would be my answer to that.
Let's go another question. Pick a number.
7.
What's the deepest thing you have gone through and how did you overcome it?
The deepest thing I've gone through was what I was just talking about recently, just with a particular business that I was involved in. And things didn't work out. It set me back in every way because of, I would say, the biggest thing for me of it all was I have my own personal core values and it was everything I stood for personally. It was against every moral I had. And it hurt. It hurt. I was disgusted in myself that I was still I was hamstrung to a point where I was like, I couldn't get out or I couldn't do anything until a certain period of time. But then I was like, man, it fucking killed me because I'm like, this isn't who I am. And I hated myself for it. And how did I get out? I had to part ways, which I was going to do, and I obviously did. But I had to get there was a time frame for it, right? So I had to get to that time frame. So it was rough. I hated it. And then how did I get out of it? Yeah, so left. Now obviously got new things moving and on the move with it. So man, it was definitely that was the hardest moment for sure. And 6 months on now, it's bro, I'm back. As in, I'm where I want to be, and I'm back on track again. So,
fuck excuses, bro. Just make it work, eh?
That's it, baby.
So, the closing tradition. Previous guest leaves a question for you. Oh, this one's kind of deep. Define that. Can't tell you.
Oh.
Okay. All a secret. Define masculinity for you and tell me, what do you think we need to do as a society to change unhealthy pre-existing man rules? What?
It's a feminist question, bro. Define masculinity for myself. Being a reliable leader would be my definition of masculinity, as in when all else fails, when the shit hits the fan and life shows up, I want to not just be the person that everyone knows that they could fucking come to, which they do. Anyone in my circle knows that. No matter time of day or night, whatever the fuck it is, I will be there. And not only that, I will perform. So for me, that's masculinity. As in, I prove myself to myself every day doing it. And that's why. Because I want to be the person who can provide and protect when it's time to do that.
What do you feel needs to change in society around unhealthy masculinity? I wouldn't say unhealthy, I would say lack of masculinity in society, where the terminologies of toxic is being thrown around everywhere.
Well, I mean, do I dare bring it up?
Go for it.
Okay. So let's use Tate as an example.
Yep. Okay.
Right. So the perception of him is that, he's misogynistic, narcissistic, or all of this, and he's giving the toxicity of masculinity. Basically, he's putting those two together as far as the general public and consensus is concerned, right? Is he? Do you think so?
I haven't looked too much into him.
Right.
But I think he's actually getting men to fucking get off their asses and be men and get shit done.
Right. So there's a couple of podcasts that Patrick Bet David,
I started listening to some of that.
right. It's 5 hours,
Yeah.
right? And then watch the one 6 months ago when he went over there and he actually did the same thing as well. I challenge anyone who's listening to this to just go and watch it. If even more so if you fucking hate him. Because the context that what they do to him is they take something that he says completely out of context, make a 15-second video of it on Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is, and then have this one line of him going, well, if a woman goes out and walks down the street, she deserves to be raped, right? And that's a fucking bad thing to say, right? But the context behind it is him saying that if a woman goes out at 2 a.m. dressed in slutty clothes in a bad neighborhood in the middle of the night, then what the fuck does she think is going to happen? Is the context behind it, right? So it's not him saying that that's okay. It's him saying that if she's done all those things that are fucking stupid, and it's like, well, what else do you expect?
It's the reality of what most likely will happen.
Right? It's bad. Look, and again, it's a fucking bad reality. But what he's saying, it's not that's okay. It's saying that, like, what else did you expect? Oh, well, women should be able to wear nothing and walk around anywhere. This is the response. Women should be able to walk around in the nude, anywhere, anytime, any day, and no one look at them or touch them or say anything. And it's like, is that the fucking reality? Like, is that a reality? Do you really fucking believe that that's what's going to happen? Would you like your missus to go and do that?
No.
Nor would I. I'd be like, that's fucking stupid. Why would you do that? Like, so I think the whole digress. So the masculinity toxicity, is that what the whole
I've added that into it.
Right. So for me, it's like, I think he's what he says, 95% of it, I tend to agree with. But his delivery, that's the problem. Yeah. And if you listen to both like those interviews, that's what even he's coming back and saying. He's saying, even the greatest minds in the world have sat with him, right? And they're like, he's actually a decent guy. You watch him, right? And they're like, it's not what he's saying, it's the delivery. So for me, looking at the toxicity with masculinity, it's not toxic at all. I think men have to be fucking men, right? And I think if you think that, you know, what are you going to do? What, like, someone breaks into your house, are you going to go fucking tell your missus to go fucking check the door? I mean, I have. No, but no, like, fuck, man. Like, you know, we're a country, right? Like, we go to war. Do you think that war is inevitable? Probably the next stage of war for, you know, globally is going to be, you know, all laptops, computers, you know, cyber war, whatever it be. By the day we get invaded, we're going to run, for fuck's sake, right? Do you think that really could not happen or whatever? Like, shit is going to happen. Again, life is going to show up. Bro, I want to be physically, mentally, the strongest person that I can be for myself, for my wife, for my future family, for everybody. As in, that's masculinity. When the chips are down, right, and the feminists come out and they say, oh, well, you know, Andrew Tate's bad or whatever it be. If someone walked in with a gun and pointed it at their head, who's the first person that she's going to go to for protection? Someone like him, yeah? A built, physically fucking capable guy who can protect them. I always say it's like the army. You know, I use the army as an example for this. It's, if you're going to war, you and I go to war, right? Would you not want the colonel standing next to you with the blood on his boots who's proven himself? Or do you want the cadet fresh out of the academy to be leading us in the charge over the hill?
The colonel with the blood on his boots.
So, okay, to become that guy, right, feasibility, we need to go to war every day with ourselves. Cool. strap up. That's it. And it's definitely not happening at the moment, for sure. And like, bro, it's so easy at the moment for any, like, if you've got to have like the smallest bit of gumption about you, and you can be you can be a part-time savage and roll over fucking anyone, right? It's like, because people don't want to do the uncomfortable shit because they're comfortable being comfortable. I'm not. For that reason, that if you're doing this, if you're doing all the uncomfortable shit, as in the habits of this morning, right? For example, bro, I can handle the rest of my day with fucking ease. I can get a call saying a building's falling down, or whatever it be. It could be like, you know, you're having a bad client, or you've got anything go on. It's like, man, is this it? Oh, bro, do you understand what we did this morning? Do you understand my boy's got no shoulders? And it's like, do you understand that he don't give a fuck about anything else that's happening in life right now because he has just conquered the day before you even woke up? It's like, so what's wrong with that? What's wrong with being on the front foot and being in front of it with any situation? I would rather be that person than as opposed to something happens and then all of a sudden it's, for me, I crumble under the pressure, can't handle it, then I can't provide for my family, then what fucking good am I to anybody? Nothing.
This has been a fucking epic conversation. Clint, thank you so much, bro, for making the trip out here, the whole experience this morning, this conversation. Is there any last words you want to leave myself or the listener?
Man, I look forward to doing some legs tomorrow with you.
That's it, man. Thank you so much, bro.
Yeah.
It's been an amazing chat.
Thanks.
If you got some value out of this episode, and we're sure you fucking have, please remember to like, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Make sure to check out Clint. He doesn't post much on social media, but give him a follow anyway.
Change that.
You are?
I will. I've been told that I need to change that.
All right. Well, give him a follow now and wait for the content to come out.
It's coming.
But yeah, thank you once again for making the trip. Honestly, it means so much to me. This whole morning's whole experience has been memorable. And when someone asks me next time what's been the top podcast, your name's fucking coming up, bro. So thank you, bro. Guys, I've teamed up with Ty Leonards from Better Today. We had an amazing conversation and connection through our podcast. And we thought, you know what? Let's take it further. Let's deepen this connection. And Ty's actually put together this journal. It's a 6-week journal. He's worked with psychologists, nutritionists, put together which I would call a mental fitness journal. It encapsulates everything that we speak about here at the Better Project when it comes to mind, body, spirit. And I thought, you know what? We're so aligned here. Let's team up. These journals honestly take the stress out of accessing mental health education, and they give you a chance to learn what simple daily decisions can be impacting our mental health and how you can take the action to improve your mental fitness day in and day out. If you're interested, click the link in the description and use the discount code BETTAR, that's BETAR, to receive 15% off.